child.
I keep that thing on me. God damn it, Bobby. They see me selling propane and now they trying to copy. Pretend to be broke, but I got hella cash. If you use charcoal, I'ma kick your ass. Made this money from propane,
yeah, so then
bitch.
I guess
I feel like Pablo Escobar, but I don't sell cocaine.
Well, we've
bitch.
already broached it
Shot
about
that
30
fella
times
Yeah.
already,
King of the
but
Hill, so-
King of the Hill, and maybe just like a little bit of a discussion on those like two specific episodes, and then a general conversation about why you prefer that as opposed to...
Yeah, again, well, it was quite hard to pick two episodes that I thought summed up the show. Like, there's lots of episodes that I really like, but the part of the show that I like, it's the slow development of your understanding of the characters. That's why I find something funny. It's not just something they'll say will outright be, that's a hilarious line, in the same way the Simpsons do. It's not punchline. Like, that's a hilarious line. Like all these quotes from next quote. There's some good quotes and there's some funny stuff they say, but it's really drawn out of their character. Like everything Bill says is only funny if you know how pathetic Bill is. So I kind of rethought at the end of this episode, it's probably a bad one as an introductory one, because Bill in this one, Bill Dauterive, he's in a lot of things, that actor. If you've seen Office Space,
no.
He's Milton, he's the guy who burns it down. Or he's like if you've seen, what's the one with Bill Hader, he's an assassin.
Barry.
Barry. He's his agent, the big ginger dude who's like gets him all these kills and everything.
Oh,
So that's Bill.
okay.
That's Bill in the show, Bill Dauterive. So
Okay,
he's
he
very
kind of
famous.
almost looks like his character.
Yeah. He's very similar. Like he's a great character. You'll have to speak up. I'm wearing a towel.
You were speaking about...
King of the Hill. Yes. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't say superior. Just something it's personally more to my taste. Like Simpsons is still the classic. If you're going to talk famous great animation, Simpsons is going to be in anyone's list, up with Futurama, and which same guy. So it's going to do it's the same credit. But I think Mike Judge would definitely be in most people's top three of one of his shows, or he'd be up in the top 5 at least.
Yeah, I think.
But a lot of people just they're not familiar with King of the Hill, and I totally get why. I was the same when I first saw, as when I'm younger, and I kind of just saw some episodes come on after The Simpsons or whatever. I didn't get it. You don't know about America, and you don't know why Hank is funny and not just a weird, boring conservative. You don't get that he's the butt of the joke a lot of the time, and not completely. It still kind of speaks to some of the good parts of that, which there's good parts of some of the values, and but he's a dick as well.
Yeah.
At the same time, he's just skewering those people at the same time. He's your very standard, stick up your ass, American red-blooded, only eat steak ever, like just barbecue and sit at home, and he's got his wife and his one kid he's very disappointed in, because Bobby, his son Bobby, is a very free spirit, he wants to be in theater and be a prop comedian, and so just the absolute opposite. Hank was the linebacker, the star linebacker in high school.
Right.
He peaked in high school. His life was, and Peggy, he got with Peggy because. So again, at the same time, he's this quarterback. He's the star of everything, but he has this whole backstory about he has a narrow urethra, so he could never have a kid, and so he has these weird problems. And his dad is a hilarious character. I don't think his dad showed up in either of the episodes.
I do know who you're talking about, though.
So you see again,
he kind of looks like an old angry Bobby.
Yeah, a little
think
bit. Like he's supposed to. I think that's the idea. Bobby looks more like
the dad was referenced in the Incredible Hank episode, and this is when Hank was on the testosterone, and Peggy comes out and says, "Your dad's coming over." He's like, "Rah!" Just like roid rage.
He's being a teenager because he's going through puberty again, essentially. He's just, why does he have to be here? But if you knew his dad, that's totally justified. He's a piece of work. His dad, so he was a Vietnam vet. Or is it WW2? Because I forgot how much earlier this is, because it's based in like the 90s.
We had to say Dickety back then.
So his old dad being in World War II makes sense. Whereas
I chased that bastard for dickety 6 miles.
Wore an onion on our belt.
The style at the time.
Give me 5 B's for a quarter, you'd say.
We didn't have white onions, so we had to wear the big yellow onions.
So anyway, so you kind of, again, you know more about a character by the development. You kind of get Hank a bit more when you get that his dad was like the biggest piece of shit ever.
Yes.
He's like a World War II vet. Like, I killed Fitty Man. He's always kind of about, the Nazis he killed. And over he went to, there's a whole episode where they go to Japan, and you find out about a secret family that like he didn't even know about it. Hank has a half brother who's half Japanese.
What the fuck?
He had a lover over when he was fighting in Japan and stuff. So there's lots of in-depth kind of backstory to even know about that. So if you're just gonna watch it at a glance, which I did as a kid and just didn't get it. But
Yeah,
it
'cause
became my favorite over The Simpsons as I got older and kind of watched more.
I had a lot of questions. Like, who was that weird Asian couple that were like enjoying
yes.
them fighting on the front lawn?
Yeah, that's the name was the Super Newsom phones. Which again, if you're going to talk about just the depth of writing, so the big problem people have with The Simpsons now is the shallow stereotype kind of characters that a lot of them have. Which in that kind of punchline comedy, of course, it comes out of the 80s, 90s. That makes sense because that's what comedy came from. Apu he's pretty one-dimensional. He's a 7-Eleven owner. Like it represents a real thing that does exist, but so he's a lot more specific with his comedy. So they're Laotian, for example, the neighbors. There's like a very specific small place near Vietnam, and there's lots of jokes about that no one really gets that except Cotton Hill, the racist weird old dad. He's like, he's not Vietnamese, he's Laotian. They're all scared he's going to be racist, but because he went to Vietnam, like he knows that. Like, so it's. Yeah, they're very not one-dimensional. So that's just their neighbors. They're in a lot of episodes, and they make fun of the rednecks next door. Like, oh, these fucking rednecks, it's fucking hillbilly assholes. How many cars you got? They're just constantly making fun. They think they're heaps better than the
Peggy and Hank having old school redneck domestic fight on front lawn.
They just
both got
revel.
binoculars.
Yeah. They both hate their neighbors, but they're their only friends because they live in this Texas community. There's not a lot of like because again, even though there are side characters, a bunch of whole episodes that take place centered around them. You find out heaps about them that they're just trying to live up to the Robinsons, these rich other Asians that live in town, and they think they're too white because they're hanging out with these hillbillies and stuff. And because it's his only friend, really, he doesn't really have any friends except Hank, this hillbilly who despises next door. It's a bit of a Ned Flanders Homer thing.
Okay,
like it's a love-hate thing. Like they can, like even though he just thinks he's a redneck and a loser, he still just will hang out sometimes.
Interesting.
So so that's who they are, and then I guess I'll go through the other neighbors. They're all mostly centered around that one little street, Rainy Street, I think it's called. So that's where most of the characters live on. It's the neighborhood, and they're standing out the front in the opening sequence drinking beers. It's like the core characters of the street who hang out and fucking sink beers. Which, you see around Australia. You go there, right? So I've seen literally exactly that.
Yeah,
Lads
I think
sitting, drinking just a different beer.
Neighborly love is like something that is running rampant in Australia.
Yeah, so
most people.
It's kind of about a specific neighborhood more than about a whole town, even though you do get some characters from the town. So there's Bill Dotrieve, who he went to high school with Hank. They all went to high school together because it's kind of a small Texas town. They're just high school friends who just never left their hometown kind of thing. So there's Bill. He's just the biggest sad sack in the world. Like he's only still alive because he has Hank as a friend and the boys to kind of hang out with. He's just he divorced and his life's fallen apart completely. He used to be in the football team. He used to be okay, but so most of his stories about just how pathetic he is, but he's still loved by the friends. They all still deeply, they kind of help him out a lot, even though he's terrible. And so then there's Dale Gribble, who's my favorite character. Absolutely hilarious. I've talked about the whole he's a crazy conspiracy theorist. He has no idea that his son is not his blood. Yeah. Like, even though it comes up so often, his wife's still currently sleeping with John Ridcorn, does like every week. Goes for massages with this giant, ripped, handsome Indian. She picks him up all the time. He's so stupid. He's the biggest conspiracy. He's like, the classic stereotype of an absolute idiot who thinks he knows all the secrets of the deep state.
I can't remember.
He's convinced about aliens. He's got all this alien urine in his fucking shit. Like he's just, and that guy's kind of just put up with him because I've known him since high school. He was kind of a loser. He was the towel boy on the football team. He wasn't one of the, you know what I mean? Like, he was just one of their loser mates.
What the fuck does he say?
But so funny. He's if you've ever heard pocket sand, cha-cha, that's him. He's got all secret combat techniques and booby traps everywhere. And he's like, he bugs people's phones. He's just the biggest lunatic. And he lives off his wife's, she does love him, even though she's cheating on him. They're still just in a long, loving relationship. She thinks he's sweet, even though he's stupid, and she's still just fucking this other handsome dude on the side. Yeah. So, and she's like a news reporter, so they just live off her money. He's not a really successful exterminator. He tests all these poisons himself, and just So again, it's once you learn the characters, and then there's Boomhauer. He's a bit more one dimensional. He's just like the ladies' man. But his big joke is just how dang on, fucking come on, man, Hank, dang on, man. Talking about what are you talking about, man? But they'll know exactly what he said.
He's got the least facial features out of all of them too.
Yeah, he's Johnny Bravo basically for a show that wasn't for Cartoon Network. He's just the old cool, he just fucks women. I don't even know what his job is. I think he fixes cars. He's kind of mysterious. He's just like a weird, mysterious bachelor that is their mate. He's just the cool guy.
Just a blow in.
They go in his house sometimes. He has like a koi pond and shit inside and like water features and walks around in a kimono. And it's what the fuck? Yeah, cool, man. Dang old finger. And so again, a little side story about that because I was curious where his character was inspired from. And there was a guy who used to call when they were making Beavis and Butthead. And some guy would relentlessly call Mike Judge and their officers and just leave the messages. Apparently, he sounded exactly like that. He was, dang on, it's very disgraceful, man. He just didn't, dang on, put this on TV. The kids watching this, man. So they based this character based on just this actual random guy who used to call Mike Judge. It's just cool. Complained about shit. They just found it so funny. He made a whole great character out of it. So, and again, there's a couple episodes with him. He's less of a main character. Like, he's kind of an aging playboy. So he's starting to get older. He's the boy. The women aren't loaded so much anymore. So he's got a bit of depth, And then then there's the Super Nupenpone, so the other neighbors, the Laotian couple.
Yep.
Kind of, they have a bunch of good episodes. They're great characters, really funny. Just like super judgmental of the redneck neighbors, but they also just they need friends. Like the wife's a massive bitch, but also is Peggy, Hank's wife. She's just the worst. You see a bit of that in the first episode we talked about. She's literally sneaking testosterone, lunatic behavior.
She's quite funny as well.
She thinks she's so proper, and everything she does is right. And she's trying to speak Spanish or whatever. But literally drugging her husband. And not even thinking about the consequences.
And that's when is it Bill can speak Spanish?
Yeah, well, French because he's from the Bayou.
That's the second
another
episode.
random. That's the second episode. That's when she's like, it's Spanish. It's the same thing. I speak Spanish. Por hablo español. That's just
very
the
terrible.
Worst Spanish. That's used a lot. Like her character is she thinks she's the smartest in the room.
I was gonna say
she's definitely not even smarter than her neighbors. Like she's not.
Like Hank comes home in this episode in particular, and he's just had a shit day at work. Everyone's called in sick. He's the only one on the floor working, and he's coming home like head in his hands. And then Peggy comes in talking about like this thing that she wants Hank to help her with, like the running of the bulls for the Spanish people at some point. And she's like talking over him explaining how terrible of a day he's had, and she just completely nullifies his points.
Yeah, like really, really unsupportive. But also Hank, like it's again, and they're not like great. They're not role models, these characters.
No.
It's a satirical, they're ripping apart this kind of personality, which does exist. It's very based in reality, these kind of people.
100%.
So there's so many people like Hank. So many, I mean, it's obviously more in America. It's very American, Texas kind of, but I know people in Australia with a similar kind of
100%,
super conservative, like terrified of rap. Worst possible thing, but like generally,
and then they get a gay son.
They're fine enough. Yeah, they get a basically gay son.
Yeah,
even would be better if he was gay. He's just not manly. He's trying. He's best. He doesn't rebel.
See you in hell, candy boys.
That boy ain't right. Which that's a classic, callback line. Again, little things like that. That's constantly said. There's kind of almost catchphrase comedy, but it's not exactly "I caramba, eat my shorts." Like Wolf brand chili. We're having Wolf brand chili and spaghetti and meatballs, and like Peggy's spaghetti and like just little stuff, little throwbacks and stuff. But so if you like a bit more of a slow build in the show, I think it's up your alley. Give it a go. That kind of comedy.
We will get to that point in time where we need something new to watch, and
you got fucking loads of King of the Hill.
I have watched it growing up,
hundreds of episodes.
The opening, like the start of the show, is memorable as fuck.
Even if you haven't watched King of the Hill, I guarantee you have probably seen that in some form of media. But just that whole that intro
Simpsons
sequence.
Even do it.
Yes.
Simpsons do an opening catch gag where they do the King of the Hill.
Exactly.
Rick and Morty do it too, don't they? Or
I don't think the Simpsons.
It's some other thing.
The Simpsons one is not an opening couch
gag.
It's the episode where the house gets fumigated because Lisa brings home the hockey stick and it has termites in it, and they're standing at the front. They're standing at the front waiting for the fucking. They're just trying to kill time. They actually full on reference it. He says something about King of the Hill.
Yeah. They're
And he
doing the
just-
slow, the cut. So yeah, very iconic. Like, and it just a good show. It was always on with The Simpsons. That's why I kind of probably saw it because you're watching Simpsons, and then I'm like, oh, I want to keep watching stuff, but what? It's not now.
It was
where you can
always-
just pick a show. It was like, well, that's on, or I can go on MTV and watch fucking American Funny Videos or
See,
whatever that ridiculousness or something.
I did
Yeah.
the opposite because it was always on before The Simpsons, so I'd be like, oh, it's half
Oh,
an
I
hour
just
till The
meant it was in
Simpsons, so
that
I just went and
block.
did something.
Yeah, true. Yeah, no, but no, it just grew on me, especially as I got older. I kind of, as I watched it more, when I was just putting something random on, like,
Yeah.
I really kind of got the comedy more once you know more about American kind of politics and stuff, and
It-
what exactly
yes.
they're making fun of. Simpsons, it's because it's punchline. It's great. It's very accessible comedy. That's why Simpsons is more successful than King of the Hill, because you can get why a joke's funny.
Yeah.
From it's being so absurd or it's so cartoonishly ridiculous. Like it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
The
So-
delivery as well is what
Yeah.
sells it for me mostly.
Yeah, where Dale Gribbler is so funny to me, but only because I know his character. Like,
Yeah.
it's just little things like that you just pick up over time. Like there's episodes where he becomes a president of the gun club, and he's just like doing all these like combat stuff with his mates, and he comes in good for the boys sometimes. Like
Yeah.
there's a great episode where Hank gets selected to run part of running the Olympic torch, and they like it's all this big build up. You know, it's a big important thing, and Hank being the conservative is so important that everything's like he can't fuck it up. Like that's his whole thing.
It's
like,
for the country,
he's
yeah.
looking right, and they'll be proud of me. I'll come out, and he fucks up. He drops the torch. he runs it, and turns out Dale had come up before and lit a cigarette off the torch. So the only way that they could save it was from his cigarette. So he's running after him, like trying to help, because Bobby like runs with the cigarette to keep the actual flame alight.
Yeah.
Going on. I'm sure it happens in real life. I'm sure that they just fucking light it again. You wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You're not gonna admit that.
Who's going to know?
This came all the way from wherever country it starts.
Yeah.
Does it always start in the same country, or does it go from the Olympic
not
country
sure.
to somewhere else? I'm not sure.
It's
also,
only ever
kind
run.
of fucked up. You
No,
know,
it's only ever run like through the Olympic country.
you know where it started with the torch bit? Guess which country started running a torch around?
Was it
Who
us?
hosted the Olympics? No. It was decidedly not us. It was in the 40s. Certain very powerful man hosted the Olympics.
Oh.
He's a mustache guy, mustache fan.
Oh.
And he didn't like a full mustache. They only liked.
Oh, Mr. H.
One of McVeigh's mates.
Yeah.
Let's call him-
I think the Nazis started the torch thing.
Let's call him
Adolf.
Hitler.
No, that's too obvious.
Like I
Adolf
get
H.
still using Volkswagens and shit because they're good cars, but why are we still doing Hitler's fucking idea for the Olympics? Like running the torch. They started that in Germany. When
Yeah.
they hosted, I think, at the Olympics. There was a whole weird race thing. Like there was the
Yeah, it was a whole
Germany
weird race
super
thing.
runner. It was like an Aryan. Yeah, racing two ways. Yeah, it was all about the weird race things. But yeah, there was like they thought this guy was going to beat this black runner, and the black runner smashed this German super Aryan fucking Nazi. He was probably
they-
pumped to the gills with methamphetamine and shit, like research chemicals, and he still lost. So it was like they were like shit. Like we set all this up for this moment, for this American African American runner to
Yeah.
slap the cutter.
Jesse Owens.
I think it maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know. It was one of those random bits of like, I'm not a sports guy, so I just kind of vaguely absorbed that through, watching
Yes.
little bits of stuff. Anyway, so back to King of the Hill. We're talking about the Olympic torch.
And Hitler.
Yeah, so do you want to talk about the two episodes you guys watched? Because again, I don't know how familiar you are January.
I don't have any notes on the second episode. I did enjoy the first one more, so maybe we'll just talk about that.
Yeah, that's
Because I
the-
think
the
you've given a
Incredible
pretty
Hank.
fucking comprehensive breakdown of like an overview of the show.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a ton to it. It's just a town of a town of neighbors. It's one street in America, and conservative kind of part of Texas, and so there's all the adventures that ensue. And he's not. When I say he's the butt of all the jokes, I don't think Hank. He's not like Always Sunny, where he's a completely deplorable character. It's just he doesn't get why what he's saying is so stupid, or like so narrow-minded.
So backwards, yeah.
So backward, and his son's such a free spirit, so it just drives him crazy. But he still accepts his son. He still is like, all right, boy. Like he doesn't hate Bobby. He just
thing
is
that-
so disappointed by what he wanted Bobby to be, but he isn't.
Yeah.
You
And
can
then-
say the
yeah.
characters are similar, but one through line I did straight away make to one of my favorite shows of all time, Married with Children,
Oh yeah, I never really watched it.
was that like that family dynamic of like family members not particularly liking each other, but also always standing up for one another.
Yeah. They're not just, and they're not a complete anti terrible character, like which finally in the right circumstance, Always Sunny. Speaking is one of my favorite shows ever, but like only if you get that they're all the antagonist. There is no protagonist in the show, except for anyone they're interacting with that isn't them is the protagonist, like who is fucked over by them so hard. So it's the same kind of thing, like, but in a much more mild way.
Yes,
it's just roasting that kind of person, because I don't think Mike Judge is a conservative. He doesn't hold the values that his main character holds.
No.
So,
no, well, like you said, it's all satire.
Funny. Yeah, but it's subtle. That's why it kind of got on the surface, it just looks like a weird show about America, like conservative Americans. I don't know, with like zany neighbors.
Yes. So we spoke about maybe like the first couple of plot points, which was Hank being left on like the floor by himself and Peggy completely ignoring him because she wants him to be involved in this Spanish festival. He says no, and she gets a back up about it. Then then
first they're worried about Bobby.
Bobby doesn't want to have a shower.
Yeah, so Bobby's at the school, and they have to have group showers, which he's a sensitive little soft.
Also, something that I found very strange about American culture.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably more common in the 90s here too. Like it's just based in an older,
maybe
it's like 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's a very sports thing. You go to a rugby locker room. They have showers. Like
yeah, but even then, it's like we didn't have like granted, we didn't have like major facilities or anything like that. But like we didn't have a full on shower. Like there was like one little shower cell kind of thing.
That's a bit like that's proper sports team. That's like a college team might have that.
Yes.
I mean, more than a kid's school. Yeah. But I guess that's just America. Maybe
definitely an American thing. Like
there's lots of weird stuff. Like I don't get cheerleaders, like especially as being a school thing. Like I know it's gymnastics and it's very impressive athletic. Not to downgrade the athletics of it. It just feels weird that a big part of it's the skimpy outfits and then they're doing it in schools too. It's like.
It is weird.
I guess you get a source somewhere, but like maybe just started at college or something.
Yeah, it's promoting an idea for people that aren't quite right.
And you don't need that. You don't need to be. It's not like I know gymnastics. They wear tight clothes.
It's wrong when it gets sold in a sex shop. When you can go to a sex shop and be that's a cheerleader outfit. It's like, so you want to fuck your missus when she was a teenager. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other problem with it. It's become such a classic perverted. Imagine being a nurse. Same
that's
thing.
True, actually.
It's like it's just one of the three dirty Halloween outfits you're going to pick. This cheerleader, nurse,
or like a sexy nun or something.
Sexy nun.
Yeah,
that's
the least sexy thing of all time.
No one's looking at a nun and going, "Damn, man, they kind of got away."
Damn, where those ankles at?
That's fully. It's hard to pull off sexy nun. It's like you're just not dressed like a nun anymore.
You're not a nun at that point.
Yes.
It's a bad habit, you might say. Some jokes there.
See what you did there.
So then anyway, so Bobby's he's scared of going in the shower, and then Peggy gets in her head the idea that it might be low testosterone. I think because she's chatting with Dale's wife, who's a best friend she just natters with. Is that who gives her the idea about the testosterone? I think it is because she's saying Hank might have low testosterone or male. What do they call it?
No. So Dale's talking syndrome. About it. Dale's talking about how they pump the balls full of it.
Right, but anyway, there's the side thing with Peggy thinking Hank has irritable male.
That happens at the doctor's office because they take Bobby there after he brings home the report card, and then the doctor explains the symptoms to her, and straight away she pipes up and goes, "Oh, you have that."
Yeah. And then Hank doesn't want to take. So the doctor says, "I think you need to take the testosterone kind of supplements." Hank refuses, obviously, because he's like horrified to think that his manhood would be called into question. Like,
yes, yeah.
It's hilarious how they constantly go back about his narrow urethra. His dad rips on him viciously for it all the time, and everything else he possibly can. Like, he's just the most belittling fuck about it.
Yeah.
He's horrified that anything would be made fun of him. He's not perfect about himself. So anyway, so then Peggy kind of the doctor's kind of fucked up. The doctor kind of slyly suggests Peggy
insinuates.
It's kind of on the doctor this too, but I suppose he doesn't know Peggy. He's not gonna. But you shouldn't be administering drugs to anyone without their knowledge.
Yes,
obviously. So Peggy she fills the prescription on behalf of Hank, And then
Yep.
she goes and she starts slipping him in his fucking coffee every morning, like with no dosage, not checking anything, just slipping him in. And going like, oh, here's a thermos full of coffee. There's a great scene, when she's just watching him so obviously. She has no subtlety.
She should make more obvious she spiked his coffee. She's literally sitting there just being like,
Bobby,
hey,
let Hank finish his coffee.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
that delicious
interrupting-
coffee. And he's like, shut up about the dang coffee. Just
You're interrupting your dad's coffee drinking time.
drink it all up. Oh, I'm going to need it after today. Just staring furiously at his coffee and then gives him a thermos full. Now, here's a thermos full. Drink it 6 hours from now with no alcohol or with lunch.
Yeah.
He's like, okay.
Don't drink it on an empty stomach.
fucking obvious. But Hank's oblivious. He's not going to,
Yeah.
We wouldn't think his wife's drugging him for one thing. But
Exactly.
He's also just not, he's not the brightest star.
Reminds me of Dumb and Dumber when they're trying to get that guy to eat the burger with the chilies on it. And he sort of keeps bringing it to his mouth thing, saying, you know what, guys, like talking about something else. He's like, why don't you eat up and we'll tell you?
Yeah, well, classic comedy bit, just like waiting.
Yeah.
She just has no subtlety about it. You kind of get how she thinks she's very sly, but she's not at all. So she starts spiking him. He gets a big burst of energy. He's got testosterone. He's been pumped full of testosterone constantly without his knowledge.
And he's getting pimples and shit.
He volunteers for the bull race. Peggy's trying to put on a bull run for the Spanish Society or something because she's a Spanish substitute teacher and cannot speak Spanish.
Yeah, and this will get her more work.
She's terrible at speaking Spanish.
Yeah.
It's hilariously bad. She's por hablo Spanish.
Very-
Senor.
Very English
very
delivery.
Super English and can't understand actual people speaking Spanish. She's putting on a bull run, which is crazy for that. And Hank volunteers so he can raise money. He's like, I'll do it myself. And anyone who sponsors me can do it. 'Cause he's pumped full of testosterone. He's all
because they want to have a fence between the bull and the people.
Yeah. And he's instead of the normal scene where another reference, they're standing around drinking, they one by one. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and goddamn right.
Yeah.
Hank's
He
all-
cuts in
Hank's
in
all
front of
amped up.
him.
He breaks the usual routine at that.
Yeah.
And he wants to wrestle Bill. Starts like fucking Bill up. And
No,
then, of course,
that's
the
when
callback.
Dale says something about like he says that there's like Mongolians in the future or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
that he's been
One
sent
of his
back to
very
like
crazy
infiltrate. And
conspiracy.
straight away Hank pipes up and he's like, "Here's 4 reasons why you're wrong."
Yeah.
Just
You
tears
swore
him
that the
apart.
robots would take out the clones by the year 2024. So which is it? It's just
Yeah.
he's like, they're just high
You
fives.
already said that you sympathize with the Mongolians.
Yeah.
Why would they pick you to come back?
So
That's
that's,
right, then he
that's
just-
the premise. He's just getting all amped up, and he's trying to like fucking fight the mower, pretending it's a bull. And
Yeah, keep
then
jumping over
There's the
it.
side plot with Dale's son. You see that he's going through puberty in the same way that Hank is. So he just constantly sees his dad and then just like tackles him and starts fucking him, just help, yelling off screen.
It hurts so bad.
Dragged off screen. Again, you don't see the physical comedy of that. It's just him tackling him and it's off screen. And
great.
it's the dialogue that makes it so
Yeah.
funny to me. Just,
I know what you're talking about.
You know.
Like you don't have to visually see it to understand what's happening.
yeah, and maybe as a kid it's funnier if you see someone getting choked and but like that's heaps funnier to me. Just the subtle,
We were discussing that about an episode of The Simpsons the other week, where Jack LaLanne comes and saves all the seniors from the sinking ship when Bart takes them out to sort of enjoy their life a bit.
I remember that episode. Yeah.
And the last scene is like the boat's sort of hitting the springs and coming back to the surface of the water, and then the helicopter's saving all the people one at a time, and Bart and Grandpa get picked up last.
Yeah.
And then Grandpa says something about like hula hooping, and then goes, "How low can I go?" And it's rolling the credits at this point, and you hear like him fall and then splash in the ocean.
Yeah. It's so much you don't. It doesn't need to be visual to be funny. But yeah, again, that's the funny. That's his relationship. He doesn't realize his son. Like, how stupid are you? You don't think this half Native American child is like, and they kind of explore that later. He thinks it's aliens eventually at some point. Like because everyone knows. It's not just that he doesn't know and no one knows. Everyone knows in the alley. They can't really figure out. They can't bring themselves to tell him. Like, because it's their best friend forever, and Hank's so awkward with anything emotional. The nightmare would be that Dale cries and tries to tell him any of his feelings, but he's just like run away from anything emotional at all, like the most closed off man ever. But so that comes up a few times, and I don't know if they ever actually acknowledge it, like that he figures it out. Yeah, because John Redcorn, he wants to raise his son. He's constantly trying to get like, tell this idiot, so break up with him, divorce him. Like, I want but she still loves Dale. It's sort of high school sweetheart with him, you know.
Right.
Like she doesn't want to break it off with him. And Redcorn's kind of a bit of a loser anyway. He's a bit like Boomhauer. He's a bit of a ladies' man, you know. But he's in a metal band, which is funny. That's a funny like side story. One of his like they're trying to get work for his metal band to do some events and things. So, but yeah, so that's that episode. He's getting amped up on testosterone against his knowledge. And Peggy goes and tells the doctor, I think she's trying to get a refill of the prescription, or like how does she end up going to the doctor, and what's she worried about?
It's after that scene that we spoke about earlier when you brought up his dad. Yeah, when he's in the garage and he loses his shit.
Yeah,
and he drives
he's
off.
being too aggro.
Yeah, she's all
and
worried,
she's like,
so she goes to the
his
doctor.
mood swings are a bit, and he's like, "This is like 6 months worth of testosterone. Like, what? You've just given him a massive
lethal
you've put him
dose.
through puberty again.
Yeah.
He's getting pimples on his face and stuff again, and
Yeah.
and it basically says his balls are going to shrink.
Yeah, by 20%.
By 20%, and his dick's not going to work anymore at all.
Yeah.
And she's like, just realizes the gravity of what she's done, and she also can't. She can't admit it. She has to now tell Hank what she's done,
and
or his dick and balls will disappear.
And
Like,
they can't stop
you know.
cold turkey because that'll be more
Yeah, it's
harmful.
just
So
to
the
wear
doctor,
a scrotal patch, which again is like the nightmare for
something
Hank, but
really
that's-
obvious that you're going to have to mention it.
That's a lot of the comedy is him being embarrassed.
Yeah.
That's his biggest fear, is that he would be embarrassed and people would know something embarrassing about him.
And
It's
she
not
does that at the
think
end.
he's not normal.
Yes.
That's the big thing of conservative. That's, you remember the whole Trump thing, are all freaking out about saying they're weird. They don't want to be weird.
They
If
just
you're
want
weird,
to
you're
be
not
normal.
conservative.
Yeah, they
'Cause
want to
that's
blend.
abnormal. So that's his biggest thing, is anyone would see him. There's a whole other great episode about he has like a medically flat ass. He has no ass cheeks. Like they go and he has to, there's like they recommend he wear a butt prosthetic. Like it's like the worst possible. Like he has to wear a fake ass, and he's like, but then it's you know, it's a bit of a heartwarming story. He finds some other men who have the same problem, and he's like he notices it. He's like, look, I can help you out, because he wants to do a marathon lawn mowing competition, and his ass is killing him because the bones are just smashing into the lawnmower. He has no ass cheeks. And so that's like another thing. It's the worst possible is that he'd be embarrassed, or anyone know anything embarrassing about him. So that's why him having to wear a
He'd rather
scrotal
deal with the
patch
pain
and like know
than
that
just get a
he was
fake
on
ass.
drugs the whole time, performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
So he ends up he hears that Bobby has decided to take a shower. Bobby lies to him, basically.
Yeah.
He tells him, yeah, no, I did it. I just counted the tiles like you told me, you know, like.
Yeah.
So he's like, if you can do it, I can do it. Forget this. I'm not going to take any testosterone, which again, it's kind of stupid as well. You think your balls are going to disappear. Like, it'd be fine for you to wear the patch, but it's his own pride. He's just hurting himself.
Yeah.
Like his own pride that he could do it.
Why show weakness?
It wouldn't be any moral weakness in having normal testosterone levels. Your wife drugged you, like.
Yeah.
But so he's too straightforward and moral for his own good, anyway. So he does the bull run eventually. He does do it. Dale's no help. He brings over a movie. Here's a movie I have of bull runs gone wrong. Look at the pictures on the back. They're like, oh god. He's just like, oh my god. He's just like goring's gone wrong. He's like, I personally couldn't get through 10 minutes
without vomiting.
So with no help from his friends, he does the bull run, and that's pretty much the moral. He goes through it, and then but it wraps up the episode with Bobby going counting the tiles and going thinking, if my dad can
Walks
do
into
that
the
without the
steam.
testosterone, Bobby's inspired by his dad to go walk in, and he faces that fear. So it's got these little moral messages in the same way the Simpsons.
I was going to say, the Simpsons generally end
Family
like
Guy
that.
doesn't do it, you know.
No.
Like American Dad doesn't really. Like it's this is a bit more of
It's
that.
a more
Some
family-orientated
heartwarming
show.
Moral lessons, you know.
Yeah.
But real ones, not these conservative ones that you might initially think are like if you think Hank's the hero of the story, you'd be like, well, fuck this guy. He's so great. Like, but it's got some funny guests in it. You know, you get some big names showing up through the show over the years. Like, again, Brad Pitt's in one episode. A lot of musicians, I think, because Mike Judge is such a big music head. He must have a lot of contacts in the music.
Did Primus do the intro to King of the Hill?
No, I think they're called The Refreshments, or that might be The Office. No, that's the Grand Tones. No, I think it's the band called The Refreshments that do.
I should have
the
just
King of
looked
the
it
Hill-
up beforehand.
King of the Hill
but,
intro.
you know,
But again,
show.
Chuck Mangione, he's a famous trumpet. Like he plays a French horn. He's kind of a famous kind of jazz, like smooth jazzy kind of artist. And he shows up in a bunch of episodes. I don't know if he's just friends with Mike Judge,
Right.
or if he lives in Arlen, Texas, because it's all in a real location. Another thing where it varies from The Simpsons, it's specifically satirizing not America as a whole by being this
Specifically
like
one.
general middle America. This is Texas, so they're ripping
Yeah.
on Texas the whole time. Like a bunch of stuff. They go to Houston, and like that's way too wacky and big for Hank. Like, oh, it's so, look at all these hippies running around. Like, it's just normal people. It's such a niche part of like culture, but it's still I don't know. It's general enough that I still appreciated it.
Well, it's funny though because Houston's like weird now apparently, so it's interesting to know that it's always been weird.
Probably the same reputation for Texas. It's fucking weird.
Yes.
I'm sure it's not exactly Venice Beach, but it's compared to the rest of Texas. You don't need. Is it true you don't need any kind of license for a handgun now in Texas? That's just
Probably.
not considered a weapon that you need anything for.
What
There
the
you go.
fuck?
Well, it's just a handgun.
You have to do a background check.
What?
How long would that
It's
take?
basically a fucking
5 minutes.
kitchen knife. Like, how dangerous is a handgun? Anyway, so it's those kind of people it's roasting. Not that Hank's a big gun nut or anything. I think because his dad's a lunatic. That's probably a big part of that. He's kind of scarred by his dad being the worst version of that kind of conservative, just a loud mouth, misogynistic. Like his wife who was in high school with Hank, and I think his new wife, not Hank's mum, but he has a new wife who's like fucking younger than Hank and shit. He's smacking her ass all the time, and he's like just your classic like misogynistic conservative dad, like war vet. Like, so Hank's he's rebelled against that in his own way, or doesn't like that, doesn't want to be his dad because his dad's such an asshole, but also wants to live up to his dad. He wants his dad to be proud of him more than anything. So it's a weird, you kind of pick that up over time watching this show. At least that's what I got from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't enjoy those 2 episodes like more than I've enjoyed other things, but I did enjoy it. And then, like I said at the start of the show, I think I sort of gleaned from it that it's one of those shows that requires a deeper understanding of what it is and who the people are to actually really appreciate their humor. Because, like,
so again, I realized after it's that the one where they go throw the $100,000 or $1 million ball.
Yeah,
that's for the Bill part to be funny. You have to know what a loser he is, and that no woman in Ireland would come within 100 miles of him. His coffee table at home is one of those spools of what you put wire on. Those giant wooden spools. That's his coffee table, and like he's the biggest loser in Texas. So it's only funny that all these beautiful
He's got 3
French,
women after him.
like Cajun women are doing
One of
anything
which
they
is his
can to
cousin.
fuck him.
I was about to say,
That's
one of them's
only
his
why
cousin.
that's funny in with the context. You know what I mean? So it's sort of, it was hard to pick. There's probably better episodes could have been, but man, I was scaring through it. There's so many fucking episodes.
Yeah, there is a
It's like,
lot of fucking episodes.
Trying to remember specific plot points. It's sort of, I'll just rewatch the whole show generally over.
Yeah.
It's more the characters in general that I like. There's not that many standout. Holy shit, that's an amazing episode. It's like,
I think
there's
something
lines, there's bits I like.
Yeah, for like an entry level Mike Judge thing to watch would be Beavis and Butthead because of how short the episodes are and there isn't many seasons of it.
Yeah. I mean, that feels very 90s comedy too.
Yeah.
It's loud and it's obnoxious. It's like,
Yeah.
It's a different kind of thing, but it kind of bleeds through. I recommend Idiocracy.
Okay.
That's one of the best movies of all time. If you haven't seen it, it's
I will
so
have to
funny.
watch
It's
that.
one of the best comedies. And it's exactly up my alley. It's got who's that guy who plays a fucking idiot and everything? He's in All the Sunny. Speaking of that, he's eating chips of paint. Yeah, these taste like paint. He's like, yeah, that is paint, buddy. Like, yeah, they're good. Just like eating paint chips. That guy. He just plays it dumb. He's married
Not
to that.
Charlie Day.
No, he's a blonde guy. He's only in a couple. Anyways, it's just got a good cast. That show. He just
Cool.
playing
Oh,
idiots.
Dax Shepard.
Dax Shepard. That's
Oh,
him.
yeah.
He just plays the dumbest fuck in the world at everything.
Yeah.
So,
He's in
yeah.
Without a Paddle. That
Yeah.
was one of my favorite movies growing up.
Yeah, true. So he's one of the main characters in this,
Okay.
in this movie.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
plays
He
like
becomes
his
his lawyer
like
or
one of his
something.
friends that he makes in the
Yeah,
future.
something.
He can be a real dumb guy. Like a good
Yeah. Which
acting
with the
dumb
premise
guy.
of the movie that way. And Terry Crews is fantastic in it. I think that's probably Terry Crews' best
Wow.
performance. He's so funny in that movie.
It's hard to top our white
president.
chicks, but
I reckon it's funny. I'd find it funny. He's the president. He's an ex-wrestler. It's basically if like Dwayne Johnson went from being the Rock to the president.
that's cool.
So essentially, what's going to happen in like 4 years?
Yeah.
We've had the governor, so
I don't think Artie would get the votes if he wasn't born in Austria. He can't be the
Oh, fuck
president. Otherwise, definitely he would have already been president. because
100%.
Trump. Like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You give the governor just casually of California, like the biggest state. Just like, yeah, anyway. Anyway, I'd vote Danny DeVito. I'm sure he was born in America. I think he'd be a great president.
Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Thinking Always Sunny. So anyway, yeah, that episode, that first episode, that's kind of its own self-contained thing. There's not a lot of side plot. The other one, it's a bit more about, it's another background episode for one of the side characters. So I feel like the whole plot line with Hank. So Hank wins in a beer, the chance to win $1 million if he throws a football through a 1 foot hole at something like 20 feet or something. So it's like a competition you'd find. It's written in the bottom of the can. You drink one. They're all trying to drink heaps of beers.
Yeah.
Like 1 in a million. Yeah, if you only drink one beer,
Yeah.
they're all smashing hundreds of beers.
Two.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
2 at once, just like double fisting them. And then Luann finds it and she's underage and drinks it. She thinks she's gonna win. So
And he's
there's a little
about to
interaction
walk
that.
off, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Why don't you pour it out and see if you won?" And he just looks at him. He's like, "I have never poured out a beer in my life."
Yeah, so it's exactly showing his kind of, it'd be so insulting. It's
Yes.
Like, how could you waste beer? You know, like, that's one
He,
of the
like,
three
glad
things he
wraps it and puts it in the
values
fridge.
world. Yeah, he glad wraps it, puts it in a Ziploc bag, sits it, and then Luann comes and drinks it. I won $1 million.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, first of all, you're 19, so if you win, you will be incarcerated. If
Yeah,
I
just
win,
dumb
you get a
shit
free
like that.
trip to New Orleans.
Yeah.
So which is it? New Orleans. Yeah. So yeah, they go up to New Orleans. I think that's just to get. It's probably just born out of his name being Dotrieve. It's one of those things that they probably didn't intentionally start his character as being from New Orleans and having all this French backstory. But they go, well, his name's Dotrieve. Where is he from? You know,
Yeah.
they get some character actor in for his very foppish dandy cousin who's like gay. That's why it's the end of the Dotrieve line. They find out he's rich. So he goes, no offense, Bill, but I thought your family would have been living in tar paper shacks. Like, what even is that? Like,
Yeah.
So nope, some big manor in
It's
the
like paper
Louisiana
mache.
swamp, some huge like old money house.
Yeah.
So in there's 2 non-blood cousins and 1 blood-related cousin there.
Yeah.
But they're all widows, so
Yeah.
they're all desperate.
They've all married a Dotrieve.
I think to inherit the Dotrieve money, that's probably the idea. They need an heir.
Yeah.
That's actually related to a Dotrieve, and the only one left is the gayest man in the world.
Yeah.
Which, that's part of what I liked about the episode. You see so much of Hank, how uncomfortable he is with everything. He's not going to
Like, he wouldn't even
jump
let
up
Bobby
and
sit next to him.
yell slurs at him, call him a or anything. He's not like
Yeah.
a redneck.
Yeah.
But he's so uncomfortable with it. You can just see his
Yeah.
discomfort with this man's existence.
Yeah.
It's just like, and the Bobby starts taking off something. Oh, I do declare,
Yeah.
I've got the horrors and all this
Yeah.
shit. And Hank's like, nope, just grabs
Throws
all
all
his
the
shit up,
clothes.
throws it at no, he just starts talking. So of course, it's like he's so terrified Bobby would turn out like this. Like,
Yeah.
man, like not even that he's that homophobic, just all that anything that's not normal. He's
Yeah.
phobic to.
Anything he doesn't.
It's not. He's not. It doesn't hate gay people. It's just that's not normal. That's not be normal. Like I just want everything
Yeah.
to be extremely
I want
average
an
and
American
normal.
family.
Yes, he wants the American dream. He believes
Yeah.
in it. He loves his job as a propane. I sell propane and propane accessories. That's
Yeah.
a big through line in the show.
Yeah.
So it's just he's very very standard. You know, he's good at his job. He's a hard work ethic. That's he's got Cod's a lot of pride in. Just even though it's quite a
Mundane job.
job. It's
Yeah.
not. But he thinks it's very important. He has a lot of respect for his boss,
Yeah.
Buck Strickland, who's just like a womanizing,
Yeah.
like loose unit who
Yeah.
just like manages the business to fuck all the time. But he's like, it's your boss. It's the man who hired me for 15 years. Like it's
Yeah.
Buck Strickland. What a man! Like he just thinks he's great, even though he's just a lunatic.
Yeah.
He kind of doesn't. I think Hank doesn't pick up a lot of the stuff. He doesn't even these dirty sexual references just go straight over Hank's head.
Yeah.
He has no idea what they're talking
He's very
about.
straight to 180.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's just he just yep, something, or he'll just not acknowledge it if something makes him comfortable. Just like
Yeah.
casually brush past it. So yeah, it follows Hank. The second episode, they go down to New Orleans to try this competition, and Hank's kind of going back and forth whether he should try and throw it himself.
Yeah.
You know, because he used to be a football quarterback. But so the competition is either this ex Dallas Cowboys player, like legend of throwing, was going to come do it, and he'd win 100,000.
Dandy Joe something.
Dandy Joe. So yeah, I'm a dandy too. It's so embarrassing for Hank that he pulls out his little silk gown and shows like, I bet you are, son. Like, and
Yeah.
Hank's like, oh my god, like fucking shut up, Bobby. Like,
Yeah.
that's so embarrassed that his hero would see his son like that.
Yeah.
And anyway, the guy's like a good sport. He's going on, and he eventually decides to go with the sure thing after some advice from the foppish cousin. He's quite funny to me. I like that guy. Just how uncomfortable he makes Hank. I think he pops up in one other episode too. He comes up to Arlen because they have another side episode about some family sauce that they're doing, and he has some good lines. He's an interesting side character, like for quite a one-dimensional. Like you only see him a couple times.
Yeah.
Bill ends up fucking the two cousins. We finds out which one's his real cousin and manages to avoid her, even though they're all desperately trying to get a kid out of him.
Yeah.
But then the lady of the house, like his, I guess, grandma or his great aunt or something, like the son of Gilbert, the mother of Gilbert, she kind of goes, well, are you going to hang around? Or are you just here for some fun? He admits that.
Yeah.
He can't actually be like he's such a pathetic, sad sack at home. He couldn't really.
Yeah. You are one pathetic loser.
And in a relationship, genuinely, like he only gets by that he has these other couple blokes in his street that have any time for him. He's just so desperately, suicidally lonely, like sad. He's such a sad sack. But he's also not the way that like some they'll have a sad sack character that's ripped on constantly in a comedic effect. He, like Toby from The Office. I don't get it. You don't know if you watch The Office or if you watch Parks and Rec. The big fat Larry.
Oh yeah.
Where the whole joke
Gary.
is just fuck this dude. He's nice.
Jerry.
But fuck this guy. We all hate it. Jerry, Larry, Gary. They change his name. Like he's not like that. He's just his own. They don't make fun of him except Dale, but it's just because Dale's a dick. And then Hank will kind of calm Dale down. It's like they actually love him. He's just pathetic. The humor is in just how pathetic he is. You know, it's not just that everyone hates him and he's such a loser and mocked by everyone.
Yes.
They all just feel bad for him. Like, oh my god, like Bill, Jesus Christ. There's a great episode where they turn his house into a gym. That's another good one. I maybe should have recommended that one too, to see more of Bill as a character and their relationship with him. But a bunch of gym junkies move into Bill's house, and it's got the guy from Napoleon Dynamite, you know, with the American pants, talks like this, you know. Yeah, he's the karate teacher. He's like,
I think so. Yeah.
Rex Kwando, like that dude. He's in it. You know, like it's another little, good cameo from a bunch of comedians. So yeah, anyway, they're in New Orleans. Bill's got his whole side story with his cousins, but that doesn't really go anywhere. It's just Bill finally getting laid for once by a bunch of beautiful women, and how unusual a scenario that is for him.
Yeah.
So Hank gets out onto the field. There's all the crowd cheering. He goes, "I'm going to go with the sure thing. I'm going to let this legend throw the ball," and he misses. And Hank just immediately, he feels so cheated. He goes, I made that throw. He built a beer can at home the same, and he practiced. And he goes, I could have made that throw. He's thinking, he actually tackles the guy, which is really out of character for Hank. He loses
his shit.
I mean, he does have a bit of a temper problem. He's got some of his best lines are him just like starting to fight. Like, do you have somewhere you need to be? Because I need to know which direction to kick your ass in. Like, some great lines of Hank losing his shit. So he does have a temper problem. But yeah, so he tackles him, and it's kind of all the crowd's shocked and everything. He's going, I could have made that shot. He feels so ripped off, and he eventually he goes and finds him after the game. I think in one of the back rooms or something. Where he goes and tracks down this player.
No. So they're leaving the hotel the next day, and they're both staying at the same hotel.
Yeah, okay, that's it. He runs into him somewhere
and demands an apology.
And he goes, I could have made that shot. Like you didn't even take your jacket off. Like he goes because the guy just like threw it and. He goes, all right, hot shot. Like he brings him down. Let's go down to the field.
Calls him Hoss.
Hoss.
All right, Hoss.
I guess a Bonanza reference. I don't know if you've seen Bonanza.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hoss. You know the Hoss from Bonanza. You know his dad is in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. His son is in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You know Hitchcock.
Really?
That's Hoss's son. And once now I've said it, you'll see the face. You go, fuck. It's like a little Hoss. It's like a little Hoss.
Yeah, you're right.
Hoss. I only know that because my personal one of my favorite podcasts is Bananas for Bonanza. It's just like a really weird podcast. Andy Daly, I don't know if you know him. He's a great comedian. He goes in character as a cowboy, and they review every episode of Bonanza, which has hundreds of episodes, and it's not because it's a good show. It's kind of because it's not.
Right.
So they're in character, like kind of mockingly, like
okay. He's
Dalton Wilcox. He's like playing a cowboy, and they're reviewing the show. Anyway, just talking about Hoss, so that reminded me. But yes, so he goes down and Hank throws the ball and he gets it in. And then he goes, all right, do you feel better? Like, you still thinking? He goes, no, it's not the same. He acknowledges that without the pressure of getting someone else $100,000 and without the crowd, he probably wouldn't have made the shot. So Hank he takes back his own word, and the guy explains, look, I practiced this for weeks, and it's really cold here, so I was wearing the jacket this because that's what I was throwing in. So he explains that's why I didn't take the jacket. I was taking it seriously. So Hank kind of gets like humbled a bit. Like Hank was still kind of on his side, like, oh, what the fuck? Like, why didn't you take your jacket off? I could have done that. Rah, rah, rah. And he gets humbled a bit by this guy, which it's very out of character that he would even be like that with one of his heroes. Anyway, he even says earlier, he goes, I'd do it for free. I'd do it. But he kind of goes back on that when he loses the money.
Yeah.
He goes, it's like getting $100,000 to meet one of my heroes.
Yeah.
And then
it's like the thing in real life, like don't meet your heroes type of thing. And
but he turned out being good.
Exactly. Yeah. It's showcased one way first and then comes back with the explanation because Hank was all upset about it.
Yeah. So again, I don't know that I'd say these are the funniest episodes. I just sort of, they explore some of the relationships well. They explore some of the kind of the characteristics I find funny.
Yeah.
There's probably better episodes, but there's so fucking many of them. So if you need something to watch, there's lots of. You go out there, anyone, give it a crack. I don't know. That's
Boardman.
Yeah. Yeah, an honourable mention to the Lauren Bouchard shows. If you want to check out something that's like 15 minutes long and it's on YouTube and you don't really have to watch it, look up Dr. Katz. That's good.
Okay.
Shout out because we were talking about it earlier.
Interesting.
Yeah, and you literally don't even need to look at the screen.
Yeah.
It's just dialogue, just comedy from how just dry exchanges. Like very, very fucking dry. It's Archer, John Benjamin. He's in it at like 25. It's him as he plays his son. This guy's like a therapist, and he's his son, and there's just their dialogue in the kitchen. It's really, really funny.
Interesting.
And it's all these patients. So famous comedians, Sarah Silverman, Louis C.K., Ray Romano, like I can't remember heaps of them, but you'd go through the episodes, you go, oh, shit, like that's Joan Rivers, like all these really famous comedians, basically.
True.
On this show, and it's it's good. What do you guys think of King of the Hill? You can give it a go.
Like I said, I enjoyed it, and I'm keen to try and give it a bit more of a try.
I'll dig through some more episodes that I think might be better introductory episodes for the show, like that, but probably a Dale heavy one because again, he's the standout character to me. He's just he has so many good fucking.
He was interesting, and then sort of didn't feature a lot in these episodes.
Yeah, they weren't Dale heavy.
Yeah,
Dale heavy. But
I loved Beavis and Butthead growing up, so I'm all for watching King of the Hill from start to finish, just to see what that show progresses like compared to The Simpsons in terms of like each Simpsons episode, it ends and then it's a brand new thing next time and nothing carries on through the show.
It's a little more serialized. Like, even though it's not completely, like you don't need to watch season 12 to watch season 13. It's not fucking like an actual serialized plot thing. Like
they're not getting older and stuff.
You're not going to go, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Like they're still only the same people, but the humor for me at least comes from the long running stuff you understand about the characters. It's rarely just that's a hilarious situation. Like there is some funny situations, but it's more like, oh, it's so funny that he would do that. It's so funny that's happening because of this. Like he has no idea his wife's cheating on him. There's so many lines you would never even get if you didn't know about his son, and it's just not funny unless you know lots about it. So it's Anyway, it grows on me. It grew on me, and it just became my favorite. I don't know.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, you can find this podcast on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. And Mont will definitely be back.
Yeah, sure.
For some episodes in the future.
Chat about some more stuff.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not even sure when this episode specifically will be released, but it will be at some point. For sure.
Yeah, we'll have a new YouTube commenter by that point. And he won't be featured in this one, but he will be there somewhere.
And if you want to find me, you might go to the store because I'm not on anything. Maybe you'll see me at McDonald's.
In public.
Yeah, you won't find me online. Good luck.
All right, we'll speak to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
I keep that thing on me. God damn it, Bobby. They see me selling propane and now they trying to copy. Pretend to be broke, but I got hella cash. If you use charcoal, I'ma kick your ass. Made this money from propane, bitch. I feel like Pablo Escobar, but I don't sell cocaine, bitch. Shot that fella cause he didn't make his payments. Fuck with me, I keep a rocket launcher in my basement. Made this money from propane, bitch. I feel like Pablo Escobar, but I don't sell cocaine, bitch. Shot that fella cause he